And now I have permission from the author, which I really like. I got a great email. Um, but I don't have to have I don't have to have permission from the author, but I wanted to, and I got it more quickly than I thought. Hi, my name is Patricia Shore, and tonight I am talking legally about the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. And some people may say, hey, didn't you do a video about that before? Because I think two people watched it before I took it down. And yes, I did do a video on, but the problem with the video was I thought that it violated copyright law. I was worried about that. But you can't violate copyright law if you get permission from the author. So I emailed the author. I found his email address, John C. Maxwell, and next morning I got an email from a member of his team saying and listing all the copyright law stuff, which was really, really nice. And it was so quick. And what I'm doing is fine. So, and in fact, they like it because I'm promoting this book. And I'm not doing it in a way that I want to do it in a way that will encourage you to buy the book because I really like it. I'm reading it now. And I'm going to start by reading the first law, the irrefutable law of leadership, which is called the law of the lid. How well you lead determines how well you succeed. And now the book is laid out in a really nice way. It has actually applications. It shows you how to apply these in each chapter. And I may or may not get today, but we are going to talk about the law of the lid. How well you lead determines how well you succeed. And I'm just going to read the first paragraph. I have often opened my leadership conferences by explaining the law of the lid because it helps people understand the value of leadership. If you can get a handle on this law, you will see the incredible impact of leadership on every aspect of life. So here it is. How well you lead determines how well you succeed. Leadership is the lid to your potential. The lower your leadership ability, the lower the lid on your potential. The higher your leadership ability, the higher the lid on your potential. To give you an example, if your leadership operates at an 8 out of 10, then your effectiveness can never be greater than a 7. If your leadership is only a 4, then your effectiveness with others will be no higher than a 3. How well you are able to lead, for better or for worse, always determines your effectiveness with others and the potential of your team. How well you lead determines how well you succeed. And there's an exercise in here, and I said, "Oh, I don't know if I read this morning. I just read things in the middle of the gingerbread house, and then I hope my kids will be listening. And sometimes they are, and it's really nice when they are. Um, so I read this, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to do this, but why not? Here are the things he suggests in applying the law of the lid to your life. Now, there's much more to this chapter. He goes and talks about McDonald's. It's kind of cool. Um, but I'm not going to read that part, but I am going to tell you about applying the law of the lid, which the first thing he says is to list some of your major goals. Try to focus on significant objectives, things that will require a year or longer of your time. List at least 5, but no more than 10. Identify which ones will require the participation or cooperation of other people. For these activities, your leadership ability will greatly impact your effectiveness. Now, I thought here of my music program um, because last fall I was in a jazz combo class, and my son was in it too. And we had to form a band in the class. I mean, everybody had to be in a band. And because I'm a vocalist, I was in charge of putting together a band. And I was sure that this was going to be just another thing that I failed out with leadership, because I would put my leadership abilities with about a 3 right now. But or maybe I would have in the fall, when I began that class. And I was so freaked out. I was like, how am I going to do this? I'm going to embarrass myself in front of my son and all this. But you know what? By the end of the semester, I had a band together. We performed 3 songs, and I discovered leadership abilities that I had no idea that I had. It was really, really pretty awesome. I've also talked about in this Legacy Builders program how there was someone in that program who was doing a camera confidence um, webinar last May, and I took that. And it helped me to be a better leader. Um, because leadership, I think, requires confidence. And so that really helped. So there are some things that can help you, with leadership. I'm going to read the other things. Applying the law of the lid to your life is this, from the John C. Maxwell Laws of Leadership book. Number 2 is assess your leadership ability. See, I've assessed mine. I think it was at about a 3. I appreciate if you're watching, and if you follow, like, subscribe. I do appreciate it. If you're interested in receiving free access to the blueprint that I am following, please put blueprint in the comments, and I will show you how to get that. So number 2 is assess your leadership ability. So I would say last year at this time, my leadership ability might have been about a 2, on the scale of 1 to 9 is the highest. But here's the thing I'm afraid to do, but I hope I will do, and that is ask others to rate my leadership. Talk to my boss, my spouse, 2 colleagues at my level, and 3 people I lead about my leadership ability. Ask each of them to rate me on a scale of 0 to 9 in people skills, planning and strategic thinking, vision, and results. And then you average the 4 scores from each person. And that's difficult because when you think about it, you're going to have to tell them, hey, I'm working on leadership. And I don't know why that's so scary, but it sort of is. Hey, I'm working on my leadership. And I guess with all of those questions, I'm afraid, oh my gosh, what if somebody laughs at me or says or realizes that I'm not a leader? But I have been a leader. I've been a leader of my band this past fall. So we can all get better at leadership. This says if there's a gap between your self evaluation, the results of the assessment, and the opinions of others, try to determine the cause. How willing am I to grow in leadership to be more successful? Well, I'm pretty willing. I am quite willing to grow in my leadership and become more successful. So that's what I'm hoping that everyone will do. And that we'll all get to be better leaders. So if you're interested in that, follow me. I would love to, to help you. I am an expert at nothing. I am a homeschooling mom for over 20 years. I've also worked as a technical writer and editor, a radio DJ. I've been an English teacher at the college level, and I've done a whole bunch of stuff, dance teacher. And now I'm in a music program. So I've done a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm an expert at nothing. And this is for entertainment purposes only. However, if you are interested in the blueprint that I'm following, which has gotten me on camera, which I was also afraid to do, and it's gotten me to be consistent on camera, which I'm also afraid to do. So, but if you would like to look at that blueprint, it's a 6-figure blueprint. I will just say this. The 129th person since 19, not 19. Ooh, that's last century. Since 2022, there have been 129 people, and the 129th just got her 6 figures because we celebrated that in the digital growth community. But I've been, or I haven't done anything. I'm not making 6 figures yet, but that's my goal. But she was a stay-at-home mom and started doing the Legacy Builders 6-figure blueprint, and now she just made 6 figures. So she is very excited, and that's the 129th person to do that following the six-figure blueprint. So what if you say blueprint then in the comments, then I will give you a blueprint, and or I will tell you how to get free access to that. And how to get free access to it is to put your email in at the website doremimama.com. There's a reason I ask you to put blueprint in there, and if you get into this program, you'll learn that. But you put blueprint in, and then you put your email in at my website, which is doremimama.com, which has been done for me, which I love about the Legacy Builders program, because websites can cost $5,000 or $6,000 easily. And everything, you can get everything for a lot less than that. What is this website about? Thank you for asking, Ryan Bullard. It is doremimama.com. I will go to it right now. And it says basically, discover how to earn 100% profit online using a proven blueprint. So when you put your email in, and it says this step-by-step system has already helped thousands generate daily income without tech skills, a big following, or even their own product, which is great. You don't have to do that. Okay. And I don't know. I will also, by the way, block people who don't seem interested or who seem kind of to be distracting. So anyway, you put your email in, and you get instant access to the Freedom Formula Blueprint, because you will get an automatic email that gives you that blueprint. The blueprint is 10 pages long, and it basically shows you how to set up a business online. So it's really nice in that way. But you also get in my email list, and I will send newsletters and information, and there are webinars to talk more about the Legacy Builders program, and I will send you information about those. So you get on my email list, which is awesome. I mean, that's the whole thing about online marketing, is you want to build an email list. You want to get off the social media and build an email list, because, all kinds of things can happen with social media, but you want to build an email list. So that's what this is all about. And learning to build an email list, and then you learn that the sky's the limit, because you can come up with your own products, or you can sell other people's products, or all kinds of things with this. So that's what this program is all about, and I appreciate your asking about that. And I think that's pretty much everything. We've talked about the law of the lid. That is from this book, which I highly suggest. I was only able to get a copy in paperback, but I've also got a hardback copy that I got a few months ago. So it comes in paperback, hardback, and I think it has an audiobook too. The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John C. Maxwell. And I read the foreword to this book, and I don't know him, John C. Maxwell, but he's written a lot of books, and I don't know, I just liked his attitude. It's kind of like it seems like he writes these books because he wants to learn this stuff. And that's great. I like that. And they seem to be very successful. So this is a great book, and I highly suggest it. And I'm going to be doing more videos on this book, because there are laws. That's just the law of the lid. And I'll just briefly summarize that again and say, if you don't have influence, you will never be able to lead others. Now that's coming up. That's the next chapter. But I'll also say, how well you lead determines how well you succeed. And that is the law of the lid. So the higher your leadership ability, the higher the lid on your potential. So we want to raise the leadership ability so that we can raise our potential. And that is what I want to leave you with. And I hope that you're doing well. Sometimes I end with a poem, and now I'm all freaked out about that. A Charles Bukowski poem. I don't want to get into trouble with any copyright law, but I think I can probably read poems and not get into trouble with that. I'm thankful that John C. Maxwell people sent me some information. So anyway, please let me know if you have questions, if you have comments. I really appreciate all comments, and share this video with other people who want to become better leaders. It might be a good way if you decide to ask other people about your leadership ability. It might be that that's a good way for you to ask them and then say, hey, here's this video that I watched, and I'm just curious about what you think about my leadership ability. So that's one way to do that, and to kind of rate yourself and assess yourself and become aware of your leadership ability. So I hope this helps, and I hope you are having a wonderful Easter. If you're celebrating Easter, Resurrection Sunday, I hope you're having a wonderful weekend and a prosperous weekend. And thank you for watching.